How much is the fortune of the tallest basketball player? How did Shaquille O'Neal make $8 million in 2 days? Stay tuned for the answers to these questions. Hello dear friends, Shaquille O'Neal ended his playing career more than 10 years ago, but to this day he remains a big celebrity and just as importantly a multimillionaire. Now Shaq is not only a legendary ex-basketball player, but also a successful businessman and television star. Here's a look at how the full-time NBA champion lives. At the moment, Shaquille's main activity is working in television. He's a commentator and contributor on Inside the NBA Basketball. That's not the only thing O'Neal does. He continues to try out different roles, from an actor to sheriff's deputy. And in March, Shaq even ventured into wrestling and won. But he fell out of the ring, broke the table, and left the arena in an ambulance. However, the 49-year-old athlete has most stable sources of income. Shaq owns 50 different brands. Among them are 155 fast food restaurants, a mall, a movie theater, 150 car washes, 40 fitness clubs, and several nightclubs in Las Vegas. In addition, advertising agreements with big companies like Pepsi and Reebok bring in a lot of money for the legend. In 2019, O'Neal joined the board of directors and became the face of the international pizza chain Papa John's. He earned $8,250,000 for 3 years of cooperation. In 2013, Shaq became a minority owner of the NBA club Sacramento Kings. O'Neal was a successful investor, but in August he was forced to sell his stock because of his cooperation with the bookmaker's office. But according to Shaquille himself, on the sale of the share in Kings he very well earned. He also recently received $16.5 million from the sale of a luxury mansion in Orlando. The center has chosen to live in less expensive properties, which he has in abundance across the country. Altogether, O'Neal's business, advertising contracts, and investments bring in about $60 to $80 million a year. In general, his net worth in 2021 is estimated at $400 million, including costs, and very soon will exceed $500 million. That said, Shaquille has earned $870 million in total, including $292 million during his legendary 19-year NBA career. Shaq knows how to make money, so he's not afraid to spend what he earns. In 2014, he said he spent about $1,000 a week on mobile apps and games, like a deer hunting simulator. And for his 46th birthday, Shaquille launched a bunch of balloons with $500 tied to them. In general, O'Neal is not stingy with entertainment. Among other things, Shaq is a truly generous father, so in 2017, he spent almost $1 million to celebrate his daughter Amira's 16th birthday. The party was held on the roof of one of the most expensive hotels in Los Angeles, and as a gift, the girl received a new Geländewagen. Shaquille has a total of 6 children: Miles 24, Sharif 21, Shakir 18, Amira 20, and Miara 15, from ex-wife Shoni Nielsen, and eldest daughter Tanira 25, from previous girlfriend Arnetta Yardberg. Tanira works as a communications specialist for Pepsi. Sharif, Shakira, and Amira followed in their father's footsteps. They now play basketball at the college level. Miles tried his hand at basketball, but now works as a TV presenter, in his spare time as a DJ. Right now, Shaq isn't worried about anything, unless, according to the media, he wants to lose weight gained during the pandemic from 190 kilos to 150. Personal life is also not arranged, although the legendary basketball player doesn't worry about that too much. Shaq has a large family, but no stable relationship. Recently, a photo of O'Neal with his new girlfriend, Tyara Rennie, appeared on the web. Not much is known about her, but judging by her Instagram profile, the girl works in real estate. Tyara is much younger than Shaq. She recently turned 29 years old, and in July, she had a son. It is not known if O'Neal is the father. Recently, he has been credited with a relationship with TV host Annie Alonso, and before that, he dated Latita Roll, Nicole Alexander, Laura Goban, Dominique Wrestling, Carrie Stevens. As you can see, Shaquille hasn't found his chosen one yet, and changes girls almost every year. You can see all of his previous companions here. Perhaps Tyara Rennie will be that special one. After the end of his professional career, the life of the legendary player did not become less intense. More than 10 years have passed, but Shaq has not disappeared from the radar and continues to do his thing. He is now one of the most successful ex-basketball players of his time. The way his life has turned out, one can only envy him. So how did he make $8 million in 2 days? Famed basketball player of a number of NBA clubs, now an expert and TV presenter Shaquille O'Neal, told how he spent $8 million in 2 days after joining the Los Angeles Lakers. When I arrived in Los Angeles, received $20 million on the contract and went to buy myself a Rolls Royce for $250,000. Then the salesman asked me if I could afford this car. I ended up buying 3 different cars for $1 million. The next day, I was walking around Beverly Hills and saw a beautiful house for $7 million. I bought it right away. So I spent $8 million in just 2 days. The bank called me and told me I had spent all my money. I didn't know that the taxes in California had turned $20 million into $10.5 million. Harlem Basket quoted O'Neal as saying citing inside the NBA, "Shaq is making a lot of money, even though he ended his career long ago. What's his secret? $100 million is how much Shaquille O'Neal has made over the past 2.5 years. In addition to his work on TNT television, he makes money from advertising contracts. There are so many that HBO called its documentary about Shaquille the biggest man in advertising. The documentary hit YouTube this week. My brand is built on fun, O'Neal says. I want to be someone who makes you laugh. Shaquille realized it was better to build his image around positivity back in the late 90s. Back then, there was a Bud beer commercial on TV with a dog named Spuds McKenzie. Spuds played the drums, drank beer, wore Hawaiian shirts, and flirted with slender models. Basically lived like a normal American dog. There was no way Shaquille could understand why Spuds was so popular. After a commercial aired on the 1987 Super Bowl, Bud's beer sales increased by as much as 20%. Hell, it didn't even talk, O'Neal marveled. I started analyzing all the commercials and realized everything he does is ridiculous. I was sure it would work. If I got a chance, it would definitely work. The center wasn't wrong. Shaquille earns more now than he did during his NBA career, though he made around $300 million in 19 years in the league, and his best contract was for $30 million. Shaquille owes his own success in advertising to his dad, who constantly told him about athletes who lost all their money after their career ended, and also to a marketing professor at Louisiana State University. I had to come up with a product that would make a profit in the short term, O'Neal recalls. I brought in Shaq sneakers, Shaq socks, Shaq t-shirts, that kind of things. This guy gave me a D and made fun of me in front of the whole class. Shaq, I know you're confident in your brilliance and you've spent a lot of time on this, but look at the NBA. The big guys there don't get contracts. That's never going to work. The marketing agency Authentic Brands Group, which now works with O'Neal, disagrees with the instructor. The company has image rights to Michael Jackson, Marilyn Monroe, and Elvis Presley. The agency is confident that Shaquille can get close to these timeless brands and recently bought 51% of his business. Marketers have been coined a special term to describe O'Neal's marketing abilities. He Shaqifies any client he works with. Shaquille chooses his sponsors very carefully. He has said in many interviews that he would never promote a company whose products he is not prepared to use himself. If I don't like something, people will notice it anyway, O'Neal explains. For these reasons, Shaq turned down a contract with Starbucks. In a meeting with CEO Howard Schultz, he said that black people don't drink coffee. But for a commercial for his favorite Krispy Kreme donuts, Shaquille even worked the cash register, even though it wasn't written into the script. And in the case of the cameras, Ring agreed to buy a stake in the company. I was going to put cameras in the new house, O'Neal recounted. I was offered the option for $40,000. I'm not going to pay $40,000, right? So I got a nice $300 camera. I liked it, so I offered to collaborate. Amazon recently bought back the pretty cameras for $1 billion, and Shaquille, as co-owner of the company, got the money too. Exactly how much is unknown, but Shaq said it was a lot. Once a year, O'Neal brings all of his sponsors together in Atlanta. The event is called the Shaq Summit. In 2014, when Shaquille's promotional activity first came up, there were 19 companies at the summit. They brought in $21 million for the center, the most that year among career-ending basketball player. Only Michael Jordan made $90 million according to Forbes. Despite his large earnings, Shaquille is geared toward the middle class. He certainly has a line of jewelry and business suits, but more often than not, Oneal promotes products available to everyone. My mother often told me, there are a lot more middle-class people than there are rich assholes like you, Oneal said. Now he's selling sneakers for kids for a democratic $15, and he's making plans for a Chicken Shack fast food restaurant chain with only chicken. Another project Shaquille has planned is the fighting game Shaq Fu, a game with the name already appeared in the 90s but was marked by failure. In the trailer of the new part it was written, "It sucked." Oneal is expected to fight celebrity bosses in the game, and the game's release has been delayed precisely because of licensing. How much did you max out in 2 days?